Good evening, Grand Bahama and the Bahamas at large, and my people who aren't in the Bahamas but tuning in. You are here with Islandish Podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, your girl Yams, your favorite side on the plate. And I am here with the lovely Desiree Joseph. How are you, beautiful?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, if you do not know this woman, I'll be glad to introduce her to you. Starting with acting and dancing at the tender age of 9 years old, the lovely Miss Joseph is a Grand Bahama native. She has experience in the areas of marketing, PR, journalism, and so much more with over 8 years of experience. But you may know this lovely face from gracing the stage. That's right, she is an actress, award-winning as well. Many performances alongside Gia Pierre and the entire cast at Out of the Ashes Productions. And she's also a member of the Freeport Players Guild, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and a lover of all things Grand Bahamian.
Yes.
The lovely Miss Joseph.
Thank you.
You did a good job. I need to do that more often.
I
But
know.
babe,
Thank you for that introduction. I need to take you with me when I go places.
yes, you do. But it's wonderful to have you here, and we're definitely going to get into an amazing conversation, not just about your career, but also about acting. Mm-hmm. So let's start off with who is Desiree Joseph and how you got into your career and where it all started.
Okay, so as you mentioned, I am a Grand Bahama native, born and raised in Freeport. I would have attended Mary Sav the Sea primary school. Then I went on to the Grand Bahama Catholic High School. Never say die. And then after I graduated, I would have moved to New Brunswick, Canada, which is way on the East Coast. And I attended St. Thomas University. That's where I would have obtained my Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism and mass communications. And so after I finished my tertiary education, I came back home in 2015, and then I would have jumped right into luckily using my degree. So I would have been a summer intern at the Freeport News, which was Grand Bahama's only newspaper publication. So I worked there for a few summers, and when I came home, I was able to transition straight into amazing position at Kenai Media, which at the time is one of the biggest public relations and marketing and branding company here. From then, I would have went on to do marketing communications and being the marketing coordinator at Alive, which at the time was just onset, one of the newest companies as well. And then from there, I would have moved on to the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and now I am at the University of the Bahamas.
There you go, Mingos.
Yes, that's your old.
Yes, my alma mater.
Grand, yes. And then I also work with Minding Your Business Bahamas, MYB, with Davina Rutherford. So I am able to say that I've been blessed. I've been privileged to kind of be in so many different positions where I'm able to use my entire degree, both the journalism aspect and the communications aspect. And within these roles in corporate Grand Bahama, I've been able to grow and learn and thrive. And I feel like so many people can't say that. So I have to say that I thank God for that opportunity.
Wonderful. So with you being able to do that, because your original degree is in journalism and mass communication, so how have you been able to pivot and kind of tap into your many different skills and be able to thrive in the corporate Bahamas here in Grand Bahama?
So in corporate Grand Bahama, the thing is, when you get into these roles, they hire you, and the job description is listed with so many different responsibilities. So it's up to you to kind of pull from that knowledge, which you would have learned in school, and kind of be able to, flex and kind of be able to just kind of show them, okay, here's what I can do in terms of writing in my journalism. When at the newspaper, it's different from writing in corporate when you're writing press releases, press statements, when you're then working in communications and marketing, when you're doing public relations, campaigns, marketing campaigns, all this different stuff. So you have to be able to really focus on what it is that you're doing and kind of pull from your knowledge and say like, hey, I need to do this a bit different, or hey, I need to, write this, and finding your voice and knowing your audience is always important too, because I might write something one way for this company and I can't write this way for another company. So it's all about kind of, like you say, pivoting and finding your place within that role.
Okay, wonderful. So what advice would you give, especially being a woman who has worked in corporate Grand Bahama, what are some of the things that you would advise young people who are trying to get into that field and stay encouraged and stay stay motivated to thrive in those areas?
So the first thing I would tell persons is when you're going into these positions, know yourself, know what you bring to the table, because listen to me, imposter syndrome is real. You get into these boardrooms, you get into these meetings, and you kind of be like, whoa, am I supposed to be here?
Right.
Like, what do I bring? What am I going to, add in these spaces? So you have to be able to know, like, hey, I was hired for a purpose. You know, they saw something in me, and now it's time for me to kind of stretch myself and show, hey, I am capable. I have the ability. Yes, I can do that. And if I can't do that, I can learn that. I'm teachable. I'm moldable. And I feel like so many persons go in corporate Grand Bahama, expecting things to just be handed them. No, you're going to have to work.
Right.
And then in terms of, dealing with the dynamics, because you go into these spaces and you're the new kid on the block. Sometimes you're the youngest person there. So navigating that too is another thing, because you have persons who have been working at these companies for years.
Yes.
And, those persons, they're kind of set in their ways. So you're this young person coming in with all these fresh new ideas.
I think you're going to change the company.
Right. And then, they can be like, oh, you coming for my job? And no, I just come in to kind of tweak, make little improvements, bring you up to the times, because sometimes companies are still doing things the old way. And yes, it might have worked, but there's new innovative things that we can do. There's new means of, getting those messages across, being able to reach your customers.
Yeah, especially with social media.
Exactly. And, social media is a big thing, and so many different platforms right now. You have LinkedIn, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have TikTok,
Threads.
You have Threads, and it's like something new is always coming out. So you have to show them why you're valuable as a young person.
Right.
And then on top of that, you kind of have to know when it's time to leave too.
Yes.
Because you can be in these jobs and you know that, hey, I'm here to just do my job. But sometimes you have those persons, that you have toxic people everywhere.
Right,
you have people who make your experience a negative one. So if you are in those type of positions, one thing with us millennials, we can stick it out till we can't stick it out no more.
Peace out.
And when it comes to that point where it's like, okay, this is no longer good for my mental health, like you say, we do sin.
Yes.
We leave it.
Resignation letter ready.
Locked and loaded. And we are able to say, hi, thank you for this opportunity, but I am, transitioning, or I am moving on to another opportunity. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so I want to, encourage persons, when you get on these jobs, suck as much, learn as much, gain all the different insights, hone into your skills, really take advantage and find mentors, because every company that I've went to, I can say that I've pulled maybe 2 or 3 mentors from those persons, people who I still talk to today, people who I still keep in contact with. Hey, can I run this by you? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, and those are the people that are going to help you get to the next level.
Yes.
So that's all it takes when you are navigating a corporate space, whether it's in Grand Bahama, whether it's in the States, whether it's wherever you are. You have to know yourself, know what you bring to the table, make sure that it's good for your mental health, and if it isn't, leave.
Definitely. So that's some really, really good advice, especially for women. Working in corporate Grand Bahama and trying to thrive in that area. So my other question right now would be, how have you been able to use your career and what you've learned to help you in the area of acting?
So it's so funny you asked me that, because as much jobs as I've had, many persons only know me from the stage. So when they see me in these, meetings, or they see me in front of the camera hosting interviews, or they see, okay, you are out dealing with, press releases or press statements, they're like, you could do the same. Yeah. Because so many of my characters have been on the more ditzier side.
Yeah, a little ratchet.
Yeah, they little ratchet, they little ghetto, they, they rough around the edges, they naive. So people honestly tend to hold you to those things, and then they see you and it's like, oh, I don't know, you smart? You sure you smart? So I've had that happen to me so much times. One of my characters, Gigi, this would have been in Friends with Benefits.
Yes.
You remember her? Okay, so Gigi. Yeah, so Gigi was a little airhead. She was kind of like, she was the young girl in the office. So you see, I kind of tapped into that. And then she was also green. Like, she didn't know anything. And so her running thing was in order to improve herself, she had a dictionary. And anytime anyone said a word that she didn't know, she would look it up in that dictionary. So that was the running joke in the play. And so when I went out in public, people would be like, girl, where your dictionary?
I got bread.
I literally had a woman up to me. I was saying something to her and I used the word and she's like, you know what that means?
It's like, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a role. It's a role.
Yes, ma'am. So I find that it's so funny that people sometimes can differentiate you from the characters they see you. And that is a good and bad thing. It's good because that means I played that role.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Amazing. And so I love that. But it's a bad thing because it's like, no, y'all, I educated, I promise.
Right.
Like, I know what I'm doing. So navigating that is always so hilarious to me. But when people really see you doing what you do in your professional field, they love you even more because it's like, girl, you really?
Yeah, like you can do both. Yeah, I love that. But then that is what people always say, especially about the best actors or actresses. It's like, they play that role so well. Like, I can't think of you almost outside of that.
Yeah, whether you like them or hate them, because some of the worst roles, people is still hold on. Like, you know that character, oh, I hate him, I don't like him. Every time I see him, right.
Yeah, and so like Michael Ealy, people still mad at him about that.
Throwing them children over the...
Yeah, he can't shake that. His beautiful self, he can't shake that.
Never.
Women still see him as that. So I love that. And so as we get more into that side of the conversation, how did you, other than, because you did mention and we did talk about how you got your early start into dancing and acting at the age of 9. I think that was working with Georgia.
Yes.
Georgia School of Dance.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you as an adult now get back into acting, especially since moving back home from school?
So good question. So Yams, let me tell you, my mommy had me as a child up and down. You know, when they want you to be in all these different things. And then when you go off to school, you kind of like take a step back, like, okay,
now I can run my own schedule. Right.
But actually moving back home wasn't a choice that I made voluntarily. I'll tell you a story. So I actually wanted to stay in Canada. I put in my papers for my work permit. I was actively waiting on the Canadian immigration to let me know, like, this was approved, that I can, you know, start this job. Because at the time, I was doing a little work with the Canadian broadcasting company, CBC. Okay. So I was doing things because our school was affiliated with them. So I wanted to stay, kind of like grow and learn in that area. And, child, baby, those papers did not come through. And my visa was about to be up. And mommy is like, oh, you either got to come home or you got to go to school. You got to go do a different degree. And I was like, no, I tired.
Like that school thing again.
Yeah, no, like, masters ain't dying in a play right now. Like, let's put a pin in that. So I went home. I literally dived into the deepest depression. Like, I was so upset because I had already, you know, made friends. I had already built my life. I already was living on my own, you know, really in your adult.
Yeah. I know that.
You know that is, right?
Like, then when you gotta come back home, like,
yeah. And so it's like, that's a huge adjustment. So I was just like, I got the job, like I said. So I literally was home, work, church. That's it. My mommy's like, hi. No, we're not doing this. We need to get you involved in some things. I was like, I won't do nothing. I ain't interested in nothing. And she was like, but remember, you loved acting and you loved this and you loved that.
Right.
And so I actually joined the local Rotaract Club of Freeport. I was in that club for a while, and through meeting people through there, and then as well as where I was working at the time, Kenai Medium, Nina, shout out to Nina Lang, who's doing big things on Broadway and stuff like that. So Nina is literally a huge inspiration, and it's so funny that Nina was the one that pulled me back in, because Nina had connected with another friend, Trevor Simmons, and he was working,
in the playwright competition, Sis and Bro.
Yes, so Carell Pinder and Gia Pierre put on this playwright competition, and Trevor had written an original play, and Nina was like, hey, you know, I'm in this person is looking for people to come in. She was like, I think you said you liked theater, you liked acting, would you want to audition? I was like, I don't know these people. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm been on the stage since I was like back in high school, like primary school. She was like, no, come out, try. So, you know, I went with her, and instantly fell in love again. I was like, oh, and I loved my character. I loved the script. It was a very like small, tight, but hard hitting, and the writing was superb. So shout out to Trevor. And that literally was my first play back on the Regency Theatre stage. It was called Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda, and I am still friends and close with everyone still in that. And like I said, Nina pulled me back in, and I am forever grateful, because from then it's like I got bit by the acting bug.
And once you get that, that's it.
Once you experience live theater, it's literally nothing like it. You cannot describe it. So from then, that would have been in 2016, I think. From then on, I was like, I need to be in a play. I need to do more. Yeah.
I love it. So you guys keep it locked right here. When we come back, we're going to talk more with the lovely Desi and her amazing acting career.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jason.
And I'm Cheryl. Join us here on Superior Talk Bahamas YouTube channel every Tuesday at 6 for Let's Talk,
Where we talk about issues that matter to you. We try to come up with workable, practical solutions so we have more action and less talk.
See you on Tuesday.
Yes, we are back with Islandish Podcast with the lovely Desi, and we're going to get back into this amazing conversation we were having, talking about her getting back into acting. It was there at the beginning with the playwright competition, with the play that was written by, I don't know why I was called this boy, Trevor. His name was Trent. His name was Trent Simmons. Big up to him, big up to the Stingers. And he wrote that. It was amazing. I remember it as well.
Right.
I think I was in Nassau around time when that was happening, just making my transition back.
Oh, wow.
And I think like a year or two after that was when I got back into theater, being around Preston.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you feel like a lot of times, especially here in our theater community, it's more of a friends bringing each other into theater, or it's mostly just people just coming out to auditions?
That's a good question, and I honestly feel that it's a little bit of both. From my personal story, it was a friend bringing me in, and when I got there, it was like a core group of persons, and they were inviting, and they would bring in like, oh, hey, this is my friend, let me bring them to the meetings, let me bring them to, the yard fun
socials,
nights, socials and stuff like that. And that's kind of how that community grow. But then it's sometimes where people see you on stage and they're like, okay, how do I be a part of that? So shout out to Dejan
my cousin.
He actually came, he watched, I think it was Crazy Love 3, or maybe it was one of our plays we were in, and Dejan literally came up to us, myself specifically. He was like, hey, I want to do this. Like, I want to be involved in this. And I was just like, okay, come out to the play, look out for auditions or whatever like that. And literally the next play, I think it was Friends with Benefits, because the next play, he was in it. He came out Forever Us. He came out and he actually scored a lead role in that, like you said. And so it's persons like that. Shout out to Truman as well. Truman did the same thing. They came from work and they were like, yeah, we interested, we want to do this, we don't know nothing about this, but y'all make it look good, and y'all make it look fun, and we want to be a part. So I find that so much people do that as well. I have someone right now, Lukisha Lulu.
Hey, big up Lulu.
Lulu is extremely interested, and she's like, Desi, I want to do this, I want to be on stage. And so you find that people gravitate towards you because they see how much you love it, and they see how much how much fun it is, and they also see the community that comes along with it, because when you're in a play, that's your family.
Yeah, you're all together all day.
You be spending hours rehearsing, we spending hours traveling. When you on stage, that dynamic, that chemistry, all that gotta be on lock. And so you actually are able to build and keep those type of friendships afterwards with your actor, with your co-host.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd have to definitely agree as well, even though I ain't graced the stage yet. It's been a minute.
Yes, it's trying to get up there.
Y'all trying. But I love to work in terms of the side where it comes to like production, behind the stage, front of house, things like that, because it's so much layers to theater.
Exactly.
That's what people sometimes don't see. Like, some people are on the stage and have acting roles and stuff like that, but it's so much layers. And people who are working backstage, people who work in tech, work in sound, work in production, work in marketing.
And we are nothing without those people. It's everybody
plays a role.
Exactly, it's a whole team. So even if because you have persons who are shy, you have persons like, yeah, no, I think I can memorize all of that. You know, sometimes you be improvising too, just a little. But you have persons who are just, you know, the stage is not for me. There are spaces where you can thrive and still be a part of that community. Like you say, front of house, tech, light, you know, so much makeup,
backstage, wardrobe. Like, people don't even know until you come into theater, because it's very important to know that it's all voluntary work.
Exactly.
It's of your free time. None of us really is be getting paid.
Right.
Unless you with the big timers.
And
the
you
big
are
timers
part
who
of that. And you have to earn that. Like they always say, you know, encores are not given, they're earned, because you have to be able to put out such a fantastic show and production that people are going to be like, hey, I want to see that again. I want paid to see that again.
Right.
And that's the only way you can really, you know, start to get paid for this is when, you know, you're pushing it out multiple times to an audience where you're like selling out, because the Regency has like 300 plus seats. So when you can sell those,
if you can sell that out night after night, that's a show.
Multiple weekends for months at a time.
Right.
You know, it takes a special person. It takes a special pen. So shout out to Gia, Pierre. Shout out to Corel Pindo who have done it in the Grand Bahama community. So those are the type of plays, you know, people are like gravitating and they're waiting for to experience.
Definitely. So that's definitely an area I want us to stay on and talk about a lot more. So when it comes to acting in theater, what advice would you give to someone who's coming to an audition for the first time or interested in acting for the first time?
So after that, quote unquote audition for Shoulda Coulda Woulda, I did another audition for Corel Pinder. She would have put out for Keeping Up with the Bougies, which was a political satire she did, and I actually auditioned for one of the lead roles. Didn't get it, you know, my self-esteem kind of was like deflated. I was like, so that'd be the first thing. Don't take it personally.
Right.
The writers, the producers, the directors, they know what they're looking for.
Right.
And you might not fit that particular character, but they still might see something in you, because I didn't get a lead, but Corel actually wrote in a character. It was a reporter role, which I loved it because, you know, I was a journalist. Right. And so she wrote a reporter role, and Kenton Pinder, her brother, bless his soul, rest in peace, Kenton, so loved. Kenton was like, Desi, you know, this reporter don't have a name. Give her a name, Desi. Make her somebody, like, give her a personality or whatever like that. And so after speaking with him and Corel, child, by the time I had done, that character name was Rhonda Run Her Mouth. I was a part of KTL VTV. I had my mic. I had my clothes off.
I can't breathe.
At one point, I was like, can they hear me? Are we on? Like, I was just like ad-lipping, and Kenton loved it. Corel was like, Desi, you make a whole character. And it was actually from Keeping Up with the Bougies that Gia and Patrice, who's her veteran director, saw me on stage, and they was like, we want her, like, she's good. And when they spoke to me, and they also spoke to Corel, I was like, yeah, that person, we just tell Desi, she's a reporter, just read a couple lines. Say, but when we saw what she did with the character, it was like, oh, wow. So that's another advice I would say. When you do get your character, whether it's a big character, whether it's a small character, I know there's a saying in theater, say there's no such thing as small characters. But for persons, you know, if you have a small amount of lines, let's say that, use it. Use everything you have. Bring that character. Make that character memorable. Because I remember people coming and was like, oh, Rhonda, how you getting them people business? I just supposed to be a reporter, but I was the messiest reporter out there, and I actually loved that, and that was actually one of my favorite characters.
I love that. That's some really good advice, because a lot of persons sometimes come to the theater or are at plays, and they're like, I want to do it, but I don't know. Trust me, just do it.
Just come.
Just come.
Do like Nike. Just do it.
Yes. Just come out, because it's like she says, a lot of times you don't get the role you want to get. People create new roles for you, or they find a place for you on the set. So that's my encouragement, because I love art. I love theater. I love being a part of the Freeport Players Guild, and I love the community that we've all built being there, because like you said, being on a set, whether you on stage or behind the stage, you get to really spend time with a lot of people from different walks of life in Freeport.
Right, and then you can see how much persons, their talents, because you have people like Alfred Lewis, Ali, who is an amazing actor, but he prefers to be in the director's seat,
Yes.
or he prefers to be behind the lens doing the production,
Right.
the photos, the videos and stuff like that. Same thing with Preston. Preston is amazing on stage, but he wants to be the director
or the producer.
Or the producer. And so you have people like that who, you know, can be in any avenue and still be a part. So once you find your niche, or find what you like, and even if you don't know, try everything. Like we said before, try everything until you be like, okay, I like this.
I love it. So back to your acting. What would you say would have been your most challenging role so far?
I would actually say my latest role, in the Crazy Love series. So Gia would have done a whole. Before it was a trilogy, then we did 4 to kind of like wrap it all together. And so my particular character in that, her character development was so serious. You know, at first she just came on as one of the lead, Sister Baba, who was one of the 2 main characters. So it was Baba and Keisha. So she came on as, you know, Baba's little, you know, sister from the islands.
Right.
I little cracky. I don't know nothing. I kind of, you know, in this city life. It's my first time here in Freeport. And, you know, I just kind of like stumbling my way around. But for this particular play, for Crazy Love 4, you know, she's more mature. She's found herself. She's, you know, in a relationship. And she thinks she's found the one. But this one ain't the right one, because he's actually abusing her. So we covered the topic of domestic violence, which is such a heavy thing and it's so prevalent. We know someone who knows someone, or someone who been, you know, directly affected and been a victim of it. And so to play that role and actually, you know, have that on the stage, so many people was like, you know, that is extremely heavy. And, you know, Gia pushed the envelope even more, whereas, you know, shout out to our makeup artist who actually, you know, gave me the biggest, nastiest bruise. I don't know if you remember that. So there was a particular scene, you know, where he literally like got physical with me, and I actually had to show what he did to me. And I had women coming up to me afterwards, you know, with tears in their eyes, and it's like, thank you so much. Like, and it really caused my heart to swell, because I'm like, wow,
it touched somebody.
It touched someone. And it ended with her taking her power back, her standing up for herself, and also her finding love in the most unexpected way, because the same person that she was kind of like blowing off, the other guy who she was like, oh, I'm really interested in him, he actually was her protector, and he came in and he, you know, saved her from this guy who was literally abusing and hurting her. So so much of the play was so relatable. And I love that, you know, stories that we put out there, whether it's funny, whether it's satire, whether it's relatable, people pull what they need from it.
I love that. So what kind of roles outside of what you have played do you see yourself playing in the future? Like different kinds of roles, different types of positions. Like what type of other roles would you like to see yourself in the future? Because I know you ain't about to just start acting.
No, definitely not. So I think I want to play, you know, a very like motherly role. I want to play that character that everyone kind of like runs to look for advice and stuff like that. For once, let me be like smart.
Be yourself.
like let me be smart. Let me be the one that kind of takes charge and leads. You know, because most of my characters, they're so much fun because they're so, you know, goofy, or they're so playful. I'm what they consider to be the comedic relief. So a lot of my characters are made to make you laugh, are made to, you know, keep things lighthearted. But I actually do want to do something that's a little bit more drama filled, that's a little bit more heavy. So I'm actually really excited to find a role like that.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. So, because now we can get really into it.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite directors to work with here in the Bahamas? Not just in Grand Bahama.
So, definitely have to say, because this person really pulled me out of my shell, I will forever be indebted to her, and that is Patrice Johnson. Like, she definitely was like, you sure you want to do that way? You sure you want to do it this way? She's like, I need you to give me more. I need it. So she really pushes you. She pulled you. She would say, hey, say it like this instead of saying it like that, because literally the octave, a tone change can change the the meaning of a word or meaning of a sentence. So definitely Patrice Johnson. Kenton Pinder, like I said, rest his whole. Kenton was so efficient. He was very much so, okay guys, we're doing this, and literally that is what we did that night. And if he needs to run it again, he's gonna be like, okay, from the top. And it's like, okay. Right. So Kenton was a good one. I actually loved working with Preston too. I wasn't actually on the stage, but seeing Preston is very meticulous. He's gonna say, no, I don't like it. And he's
something's wrong, something's off,
yeah,
off.
He can say, yeah, no, that don't work for me. And so he's one of those very cutthroat directors that's gonna tell you how it is. And so I appreciate that. But there's so much more. People here. Nina actually is a really like behind the scenes director when we actually were on the production side of Corel Pin the Star.
Right.
Nina be working that play in itself, dealing with children, dealing with youth. That play actually taught me so much because the future, man, you have so much kids who want to be involved. So shout out to Miss Shakita at St. George's for her performing arts department, her program. Yes, she is amazing. So all of them were in Corel Pin the Star play, and we were working with her and we were helping them like, okay, don't do that, do this, say this, so that. But then when we see them own it and they do their own thing on the stage, it's like, oh, what? Where that come from?
Right.
But that's when they grow in their confidence and they're able to really like put on those acting shoes and be like, okay, this how I want my character to be. Like, thanks for the advice, but this is where I see my and that's all we ask for. Make it your own. So working with Nina in that space, and Nina was able to kind of like pull them out. Like, she's like, your facial, you saying something sad, why are you smiling?
Right.
And you know, as a young person, you don't really think of it.
Right.
And so those little nuances really actually help so many of them like become a better actor and a better actress at the end of the day. And the show was amazing. So yeah, that's just some of my ones that I could remember.
I love it. So we're going to take another commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk even deeper about acting and theater here in Grand Bahama.
Yo, what's up, Bahamas? My name is Andrew Williams, aka Cat.
And I'm your boy Mix.
And we're representing Off the Bench, the number one talk sportcast in the Bahamas.
In the world, my boy.
My bad partner. So we cover anything sports throughout the Bahamas. We cover our Bahamian athletes wherever they are, and they're making waves in sports. We cover them.
Hey, just tune in to us every Wednesday here on Superior Talk at 6 o'clock p.m.
The number one talk show
in the world, Craig.
And we are back with Islandish Podcast here with the lovely Desi, actress extraordinaire from Grand Bahama. And we are definitely going to talk a little bit more about acting and theater here. Now, I've had some amazing people on so far. We're on episode number 10.
Woohoo!
Right. So nice round number.
Shawty is a 10.
Hey! So I've had Cranston McDonald on, and I've had Alfred on, which are people who are huge thespians.
Right.
Working wonderfully on stage as well as in production.
Correct.
So one thing I like to do especially is tie in a lot of the conversations I had with them with each and every person from that field.
Perfect.
So I asked Cranston and I also asked Alfred about their opinion when it comes to art and theater. What do they feel is needed to help art and theater kind of like push through, especially here in Grand Bahama, to get to that next level?
Well, I believe that we need the means to really push new creatives because we have persons who, you know, you sitting on a script, you might not even know it's a script, but you're sitting on a story, and that's where most scripts start, with a story, something that you would have experienced, something you would have gone through, and they're afraid to kind of like put that out there. So I feel that we, as the Free Pop Players Guild, as the theater community, we need to foster where we ask people to, hey, let's do workshops. Let's bring in persons that can kind of help you, you know, flesh that idea out of it. Help you like put pen to paper and really start to develop those ideas, develop those stories even more. Because I feel that once we start getting more persons to, you know, make the scripts, the people will come to put those shows on. So I think that is definitely something that we need to do more, and that's workshops across the board, whether it's in playwriting, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's in the technical aspect. We also need funding.
Right.
We need persons that see the importance of what they call the orange economy. The orange economy, that is, where the creatives, where the persons that are pushing entertainment, because we have so much talent. Like I said, they're starting from young. They're starting in the schools. You have singers, you have actors, you have, dancers, you have poets, you have people who do spoken word, and they need somewhat of a hub, and that's what the Regency Theater has become, and that is what the Freeport Players Guild, we try to, foster that. But I think there needs to be more funding, because when people come in, they're like, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
How do I get this idea off the ground? Because yes, I can, have the script, I can find the people, but how I can build my set.
Yes.
How I can get my costumes, even though we have an amazing...
Plenty costumes.
Yeah, plenty costumes, but some people, they want a particular look. Their play might be in a particular era, that type of thing. So I feel like once we get the people with the ideas, we could really start to, formulate and really push building them up.
Right. I like that. I like that you said that, because I feel like that's a big hindrance as well. A lot of persons have ideas or have things that they want to do, but for whatever reason, they haven't made that push or that big step to say, man, let me just try and do it.
Right.
So what do you feel is some of the things that holds people back from stepping forward or from joining things like the Freeport Players Guild?
I think people are just scared and they're nervous, and they think that it's only for a particular set of people. It's only for people who are already in that community. Like, I can't just go to a meeting. Yes, you can.
Yes, you could. The door open.
Yes, you can. Come. We like new faces. We like to see new people. So I think persons just need to get out of their head and get out of their comfort zone, because that's really what it is.
Yes.
Putting yourself out there, getting out of your comfort zone and saying, hey, I think I want to do this, but let me just take this first step, because we can't find you in your house.
That's true too. That's true.
We can't find you in your house, so you are going to have to make that step. But once you come, know that our arms are wide open. We are excited. We are thrilled. We are welcoming you into this space, because we know that, hey, the only way that theater is going to continue growing and thriving is if we get more people involved. And that's with any organization, civic, anything, you have to build that membership up from the ground. And yes, we have our people, but our people are leaving. People are going off. People getting older. We need fresh new faces, and with those fresh new faces come fresh new ideas and that passion and that creativity that we need.
Because you just get burnt out. I ain't gonna let you
You do.
Doing this free work all the time, it gets really, really tense, and it really does weigh a lot on you. And I like that you mentioned that. But one thing I do want to tie into as well is because even you mentioned that it had to be your mommy who pushed you out the house. And your friend now who say, man, come. Come out. So it's almost like it's up to the person to want to do it, but it's also up to us sometimes to pull it out of people as well.
Correct. Especially when you see that person, you have that friend who always funny or always, they have different personalities, and a person like that will thrive in a creative space and in a theater production or in a play, or even just come in and saying, hey, let me use some of your jokes, like stand-up comedy. Like, that's a thing as well too, and people don't know that that's an art.
Yes, that is an art. That is an art. I'm happy that you said that, because that's going to lead me into my other question, which is the question I asked Alfred. What do you think, as someone who is here in Grand Bahama thriving, because I feel like with you being here as well, you're also watching a lot of your fellow actors and friends leave.
Oh my goodness.
And move on to different places, whether it's different islands or different countries. So what do you think will be the thing that brings a lot of them back home to Grand Bahama, especially in the area of theater and acting?
I think they're gonna come back with renewed purpose, and they're gonna come back like saying, hey, here's what I've learned, let me share it with you.
Let me bring it back home.
Let me bring it back home. And also, when we take it seriously, like when we get persons, you know, from these major networks. You know, you have Netflix, you have Tyler Perry Studios, you have, you know, all these different things. You have to say whatever you want to say is a big channel. You want to come and let them see what we have here too.
Right.
And then that's another thing for us to kind of catapult persons too, because it's like, okay, when you're here, you are only in this community, you're only seen by Grand Bahamians unless you're with a play that travels.
Yes.
So, and then you'll get the experience of going to New Providence and letting persons see you there, and then some persons went to Turks, so then you have persons there. So I feel like, again, it ties in with the money to be able to do this,
to travel
and take those plays and show people like, hey, this is what we doing in Freeport. Because when we go to Nassau, they are mind blown, and it's like, this is really good. And I mean, not to knock the theater scene in Nassau, because they do have a thriving theater scene there with the Dundas Theater and stuff like that. But it's just a different community.
Yeah, it's fresh.
It's fresh. And it's new, and they're like, okay, we've never seen a play like this.
Right.
Because I know so much people, when I first started out, and I was like, hey, I sell them tickets for this play, and it's like, play. You have persons who've never actually been to the Regency Theater. They've
That's
never
wild
actually
to me.
watched the play. And that is like, what? And so when you get those persons, because they think, okay, theater is just for like old people, like this just some boring thing.
Right.
Like they don't know the jokes. They don't know the
fun.
the fun, the stories, the drama, like the excitement that comes from watching the play. So when they finally watch on this, like, I didn't know it was like that. And that's the next thing. We gotta get more persons to see it and experience it, so they'll be the one to be like, no, you gotta go,
right,
or you gotta get involved.
Yes.
And that's how we're gonna pull those numbers in. So I find like when persons move away and they come back, they're coming back with renewed purpose, and they're coming back with, you know, new talents that they can share with us who are here, because not to bring up Nina again, but you know, Nina went to a whole performing arts school in New York, and you know, she came back recently, and she was just telling us about all the different things that she learned and all these different things. I was like, oh wow. And so even things like the Keys Conference, there was a huge conference in Nassau that Corel Pinder would have been a part of, and she extended that invitation to Grand Bahamians because it was in Nassau, and she's like, hey, I know some of you are very serious about your craft. Some of you, you know, want to move on to do things on international stages. You want to, you know, be signed by agents and, you know, be a part of different agencies that are casting, you know, for huge major shows and movies and stuff like that. This is a conference you should attend. And I'm so happy that I took her up on that offer, and I went and listened to me Yams auditioning in front of a room of hundreds of people. Is a whole nother level.
That's a different ball game.
But if you're someone who wants it and who is passionate about it, that type of thing is gonna be nerve-wracking, but it's also gonna excite you and it's gonna push you to want to do it. So I find that when persons go off and they have that experience, and then you get to experience that yourself, you're like, okay, now I see what I need to do, you know, right away, and then I can bring that back. Because a lot of us came back and we were just telling other people about it, and they were like, oh wow, when it happening again, I will go. Correct. So I think that's how we're gonna like really propel and push performing arts and theater and just, you know, acting in the Bahamas. Is like when you see other people out there doing it.
So as someone who has been on the stage so many times as you have been, and I don't know if you have any experience in movies on that side of it.
No. So no. And that's the thing. People don't know that they're different.
It's very different. It's not the same thing. But the reason why I bring that up is because me and Cranston had a conversation. And he mentioned how he believes that the fusion between the two could be an avenue that could really, like you say, take it to other places. That people be able to see you, because sometimes a play may not be able to travel. But footage could travel. Anybody could see it.
And you could upload that anywhere. And, you know, you don't know who watching something. And so, yes, but you have persons like myself who, you know, we prefer live theater.
Live
and then you have persons who prefer on screen and film. And so like he said, that fusion is needed, but you're gonna have to have the right script and the right kind of production to put those two together, because the difference is with live theater, everything is larger and bigger than life.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, you have to really sell and bring this character to life. Whereas on the screen, it's the little things
That count,
it's
yeah.
it's the eye, it's the mouth movement, it's the tone of voice. Like, you don't have to be as big, and so you have persons who have mastered that art of, you know, I can sell a character through a screen,
Right.
whereas I can sell a character on a stage.
Yeah, because it is different a lot of times, especially I like how you said that too. Sometimes when you're trying to catch an entire stage because of the set,
Exactly.
you can't see the actor's actual face and
Exactly,
expressions.
exactly.
But if you're there in the room, you're able to feel the energy, and that sometimes don't translate through the camera.
Exactly.
Okay, you look smart, you know.
Girl, I told you.
Definitely. So my other question as we get ready to wrap this up would definitely have to be, where can we see Desi, if you could tell us, in the next year in terms of some plays that you're currently working in, some places that you're currently getting ready to go? If you could spill the tea a little bit, what can we look forward from you,
Boy.
especially on stage very
Yes.
soon?
I don't mean to, you know, I don't
Brag.
mean, not even, I don't mean to, you know, give you a boring tea, because you know, tea need to be hot and scalding, but mine's a little lukewarm right
Okay.
now, because right now I actually took a break.
Okay.
Look at she's
That
like,
bugged me.
She's like, I actually took a break from theater, just to kind of focus more on the professional side.
Right.
And so I am actually wrapping up that break. I see some things that are coming on stream. I see some persons that are working on things. You know, I was approached by someone else who's writing something right now, asked me if I'm interested. And so I find that I am ready to get back out there. It just has to be for the right thing. And I feel like that's what anyone, after you've done it for so much, you kind of need something new and challenging
Right.
to kind of like get your feet wet again. But
Yeah.
no, I did take a break, and I was able to kind of regroup, because it's a lot of work. Don't mind the fun. Don't mind us having a good time.
It's a lot of energy, too.
requires dedication, rehearsals, you know, all that different stuff. And, you know, that can really be tiresome, like you say. So everyone has the time where they need to just kind of step away for a bit and then regroup and then come back refreshed and ready to work. So I am now in that space where I'm ready to work again, and so I'm actually looking forward to seeing new people on the stage, because I do see some plays that have been you know, advertised, and so I'm excited to see some new faces and see what other people are doing. So that's where I am now. I'm in the audience.
Okay.
That's my tea. I am actually in the audience and, you know, behind scenes, because I'm actually working in the pageant scene now.
Love it.
That's your stomping
Yes,
ground.
it
That is
is.
where you're from. So I would have been, you know, assistant in terms of that. I would have worked with Daryl Stubbs. He's amazing. I know Dominic has a you know, a major international pageant that's coming up. So I've been kind of like helping those behind the scenes, assisting them in that, because I'm also interested in that too. And that's another creative,
avenue.
that doesn't get enough praise. You know, pageantry that is an art.
Listen, that is an art.
And I don't know if we really don't give you guys enough flowers for that. So that is where I am in terms of my creative space right now.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to take our last commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to wrap up this amazing conversation we're having with the lovely Desi, all about art and theater here in Grand Bahama.
Greetings and welcome to Superior Talk Bahamas. My name is Yvette Swain, and I am here with the Sword Sharpeners Prayer Network. We meet every Monday at 6 p.m., where we dive into the Word of God to see what He would say to us. You are welcome to join us. That's every Monday at 6 p.m. here on Superior Talks. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, we are back here on Islandish Podcast. You're here with your girl Yams, and I'm talking with the lovely Desi as we get ready to wrap up this amazing conversation we've been having.
It's been so good.
I know, right? It's been flowing so well. I love it. We're getting good at this.
Yes.
So we definitely want to, as we start to wrap this up, talk a little bit more about not just acting in terms of being on the stage and things of that nature. But talk more about, because you also mentioned pageantry, which is something I really, really,
Yes.
you know, that's my baby. That's how I got my start with being on the stage. So what would be some encouragement you would give for parents who want to get their children involved in things like acting and dance and pageantry, who are a bit apprehensive?
I would say definitely do your research. Know which area, know your child.
That's true.
Actually, because you have to know what they would be interested in doing. Like my niece right now, I have a 6-year-old niece, and her personality is larger than life. She is very rambunctious. She's very outgoing. So, you know, we enrolled her in Georgia School of Dance and Theater, and I mean, she want to do tap, she want to do jazz, she want to do ballet, she want to do all of that. So knowing your child and then starting them off small. So if you see your son is very, you know, athletic, he's flipping and stuff like that, you know, Georgia has an amazing gymnastics class that, you know, you can put him in for him to kind of learn the basics. If you see your child, you know, wants to do, you know, focus more on the dance part of it, you know, the Bahamas Dance Theater is amazing. Shout out to Colette, my sister. She is an amazing choreographer. She does, you know, amazing dances. And so I find that knowing your child and seeing where their talents are already developing, so you know exactly where to place them. So I would definitely say that. And then definitely just kind of showing up. I find that parents, they don't want to be as involved. Like, they want to just kind of drop their kids off and be like, okay, yeah, they doing this after school. But showing interest in it too, not just when it's showtime.
Right.
Yeah, like showing interest in it and saying, hey, show me what you learned in class today.
Right.
You want practice? Let me see what you learned. And that really boosts their confidence and also allows them to get in that practice time and make them feel comfortable in performing in front of people. Like, because when it's time for them to be on stage, you know, some kids, they either light up or they shut down.
Right.
And so I would definitely tell parents, you know, let your child be as creatively expressive as they want to be. And I would just want to tell them, bring them to us. Like, let them come to the theater. Let them see what it's all about, especially as they get older. Because, like, some kids, you know, they're in grade 7, 8, 9. They know that they're creative, but they just don't know where to put that creative energy.
Yes.
So definitely do that.
Yeah, because you work a lot more with children.
Yeah.
And a little bit more so than me, because I don't really do. I just be honest. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
But I know that a lot of times when it comes to children, especially me growing up and being someone who my parents made me be involved in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Things that me necessarily as a child, I'd be like, I want to do that. But when your parents put that push in you and make you commit to certain things. And once you commit to it and your parents showing interest in you, it makes you want to, all right, mommy dropping me and doing, let me try.
And then don't let them find out they good at it. Be like, hold on now.
Like, what you mean you get a lead? You know, and you say you didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah, so I definitely like that, and I like to see how much more young people are getting involved in arts and theater. I took some time out and volunteered at Camp Center Sage this summer, and listen, them children could act. This little boy come with this Scottish accent out of nowhere, and I was there like, oh, check out old boy. Okay, light up.
And that's the thing. They watching it on YouTube. They watching it on TV. And so not only can they learn from those things, they mimic it. And then they make it their own. And then some of them are just straight up characters just from
by themselves, you know? So, and I feel like that's a big thing about us as Bahamian people. Bahamians are naturally just
funny
characters.
And charismatic.
Animated. Like, we just come alive and be passionate about something. When we get mad. But you know, people who I drive with, when they have in road rage, just be like, if I whip out this phone right now, I could go viral.
Yes.
With this video.
Because the things that we say, it's just, it's like, wow, we really could have our own reality TV shows.
Yes, some cameras could follow some of y'all, and people would make thousands of dollars just off of the content alone.
Correct.
So with that, and as we start to wrap this conversation up, what are your hopes for art and theater here in Grand Bahama, especially on the on-stage acting scene?
I want to see us blow up. I want to see us, you know, I want people I know some persons coming, all right, but I want people flying in by the droves. I want shows to be taking place literally every quarter, like whether it's a rental, whether it's someone from the outside, or whether it's from the theater, whether it's from a Freepa Players Guild. I want us to be able to bring back those shows that made waves, you know, Raisin in the Sun, like we've done Grease so much time, Dream Girls, like these are the shows that, you know, put the theater on the map. Like I want us to bring back those type of shows and, you know, kind of revamp them, update them, and allow persons to kind of, you know, be in new characters, but also do shows that, you know, were big back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, so I really want that to really take place, and I want to see that boom again where people are like flocking to the theater.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're definitely going to get there one day at a time, one step at a time. But thank you so much, Desi, for coming on to Islandish Podcast. Let me tell you all something, because she ain't going to say it, but I can say it. I had to convince Desi. I had to say, Desi, use that girl. Come be on the pod. Yeah, and you just need friends like that.
You do, and as I say, that imposter syndrome, it is becoming for you hard, because you also you get to a place where it's like, okay, I'm doing this because I like it. You're not knowing that, you know, other people are being inspired, or people are seeing you, and they're like, you know, you get the congratulations, but people are also saying like, hey, push yourself, push your brand, and let people know what you're capable of. Yes. And so I'm so thankful. I'm appreciative for people like you. I'm appreciative for my friends who are basically like, Desi, girl, you could do this. Because I'm like, I'm sure I want to do this. And but see, it always ties in. Your mommy pushing you to do something. Your friends pushing you to do something. So you need to have those positive influences in your life. And that ties into anything you do. Yes. Make sure that people are rooting for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the right people around you.
Correct.
And that's what it's all about here on Islandish Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure you're subscribing, because we have new episodes coming out almost each and every week. So make sure you're subscribing, following us on Islandish242 on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you're following my girl Desi too, because you're gonna see her on a stage near you very, very soon. Peace out.